Riandavi
Sì.
proprio parola per
Sì.
parola. Questo l'hai detto a parole
Questo l'ho
tue.
incasinato.
Non è un attimo, è stato...
Over the past 2 centuries, capitalism has lifted billions out of poverty and delivered unprecedented growth. But capitalism has also created major social inequalities and massive ecological degradation. I hear people say we need to build a better economic system that is socially inclusive and good for the planet. Sadly, to paraphrase Einstein, we cannot build a new economic system with the same mindset that created the old one. The current mindset dominant in our capitalist system is based on hyper-competition, hyper-globalized supply chains, and hyper-extraction of natural resources that lead to the depletion. If you want to build a better economic system, we need to develop a new mindset that is based on cooperation, localization, and regeneration, 3 qualities that will counteract the flaws and excesses of capitalism. But we face a chicken or egg paradox. Should we develop the new mindset first, or should we build the new economy first? I suggest we do both at the same time in a mutually reinforcing way. My bold suggestion today is that we build what I call a frugal economy that does better with less. That is, create more economic and social and ecological value while minimizing resources and emissions. This frugal economy is no utopia. It is rapidly emerging, supported by 4 pillars that I will detail today. These 4 pillars embody the 3 qualities of cooperation, localization, and regeneration that I mentioned earlier. And the good news is that a new generation of conscious customers and innovators are accelerating the rise of this frugal economy. Let us explore the first pillar, which is business-to-business or B2B sharing. What if companies stop competing and learn to cooperate and share resources? In Kalundborg, an eco-industrial park in Denmark, a dozen co-located companies share water, energy, and waste materials with each other as an integrated ecosystem. This mutually beneficial sharing is called industrial symbiosis. And the great news is that Italy is the pioneer in Europe in industrial symbiosis. Enel, which is the National Innovation Agency, has set up for the past 20 years a digital platform that enables small, medium businesses, hundreds of them, to share their industrial resources locally in different districts across Italy. For instance, in Brescia, the steel factories and foundries exchange waste materials, and the furnace heat is captured and used to provide heating for the city. Sharing waste among companies is a great first step. The next step would be to share physical assets. Flow2 is a digital platform that enables hospitals in the Netherlands to share the underused equipment and services with each other. This enables hospitals to make better use of their assets, and it saves time for patients. Some companies go one step further and share something that, at least in America, we don't do that, which is to share employees. And as both American and French, I'm proud to say that France is the first country in Europe that has been practicing it for the past 20 years. And most media don't know what happened in 2020, and I'm going to share you what happened. Call Me Open is the largest facial mask producer in France. In 2020, when COVID struck, they didn't have in-house the expertise to rapidly scale up their manufacturing volume. So they looked around, and they found Scania, a truck manufacturer whose factory was located nearby. So they went to talk to them, and they temporarily borrowed the supply chain experts to reconfigure the factory processes. In doing so, in one weekend, they were able to double their mass production, saving thousands of lives across France. How was it possible? Well, we always criticize the government, but national governments can be sometimes bad, but the regional governments are always good, according to me. So in this case, Call Me Open took advantage of a digital platform, a B2B sharing platform set up by the regional government in northwest of France that enables local companies to share all the resources, including the employees, which preserves precious know-how within the region. Now imagine if companies can go one step further and dare share the intellectual property and the best practices for the greater good. Here, businesses can learn from farmers. Digital Green is an online platform that captures agricultural best practices and shares them with farmers across the world. Their WhatsApp chatbot uses AI to analyze these best practices and offers agricultural advice to farmers tailored to the local context and in their local language. In 2007, the World Bank published a landmark report that showed that if all Indian companies and farmers could share and leverage existing knowledge, including traditional knowledge, they could add 2% to India's GDP annually. 2%. That's impressive, right? Now, let's look at the second pillar, which is distributed production. Today, the clothes and smartphones that American and European consumers buy are mass-produced in giant factories in China. Then they travel thousands of miles by air and sea before they reach stores in Rome or in New York. This centralized mass manufacturing model is definitely cost-efficient, but it is not sustainable, and it is very vulnerable to shocks caused by natural disasters or geopolitical crises, as we see right now. A better option will be to build a distributed manufacturing model where companies can produce customized goods and services closer to customers live. Let me show you how decentralized production works. Avatar is a French startup that has developed a disruptive electric car that is 5 times lighter than typical EVs and consumes 3 times less energy. But the real innovation in this electric car is not its energy efficiency, but the way it is built. Unlike Tesla's Gigafactory, Avatar will use a distributed network of microfactories located in multiple regions across France. In each microfactory, no larger than a big garage, local entrepreneurs will assemble these cars in small volume for local customers. The vision of Frédéric Mourier, who is the co-founder of Avatar, is to build a distributed manufacturing network that will create more economic and social value in the territoire, that is, the French territories across France. So my message to you is don't scale up. Instead, like Avatar, scale out your production to maximize local impact. Again, Italy is a pioneer in decentralized production, this time in the energy sector. Enel, the Italian energy giant, has 2 million prosumers. These are residential and business customers that generate locally renewable energy and then feed excess energy back into the grid. India is going one step further and using distributed energy to also create local economic opportunities. Selco is a social business that has set up off-grid solar systems for 1 million low-income households in rural India. But it didn't stop there. They also developed a whole range of solar-powered equipment that helps small farmers, for instance, to process their crops post-harvest. which improves their livelihoods. Now, this third pillar is important because it takes the notion of distributed production to the next level, and this is about hyperlocal value networks. Today, Western nations are relocating manufacturing back home. But it's not enough to just shift production from China to US or Europe. You also have to replace, as I said at the beginning, global supply chains with hyperlocal value networks. This will enable companies to source locally within territories and share value with local communities. Let me show you how hyperlocal value networks operates. Affiren is a French biotech startup. Their biorefinery is located in northeastern France. What they do is essentially they upcycle agricultural waste sourced from local sugar beet farms into high-value biomolecules used in animal and human nutrition and in cosmetics. But what is amazing is that all their suppliers and their major clients are located within a 250-kilometer radius of the factory. Again, great news since we are in Italy. Italy is also localizing its value chains within its historic industrial clusters, the distretti industriali, which are deeply rooted within Italian territories. For decades, the textile district in Prato used to rely on imported wools, virgin wool, shipped from the other end of the planet. Today, this global sourcing strategy is proving to be a geopolitical liability. So Prato shifted. They pivoted. Instead of looking at global markets for raw materials, they're looking at urban mines located nearby. By recycling old textile sourced within a 30-kilometer radius, Prato is building local networks that create value for local artisans rather than global conglomerates. So in Prato, they are not just making clothes. They are weaving a safety net for the local community. Now, this may be why I just improvised a thought, because it's important that I share with you. Since we are in Italy, do you know the root, the Latin root of the word frugal? Because when you say frugal in America, they say, no, we are a land of abundance, we don't want to be frugal, because we think frugal means tightening the belt. But the root of the word frugal is frug, fruit. So when we talk about frugal economy, as Prato is doing, it's about fructifying, that is, valorizing the resources that already exist around you. Okay? Now, we can go from fructifying resources to regenerating resources, and that's going to be the fourth pillar of the frugal economy that I want to conclude on. So, triple regeneration, what it is? It's essentially an advanced version of sustainability. Today's sustainable businesses try to do less harm by reducing their carbon footprint and recycling their waste. A regenerative business also does that, but it goes one step further and tries to boost the health and vitality of people, places, and the planet altogether. This holistic and synergistic approach is what I call triple regeneration. Let me show you how it works. In the Amazon rainforest, there is a palm tree called murumuru that indigenous tribes used to cut and use its wood to make commodity products like brooms. But it turns out that you can extract from the seeds of this palm tree an ultra-moisturizing butter that can repair damaged hair. I don't need it, but maybe you do. And these seeds are 7 times more valuable than the wood. That means that it's 7 times more profitable for the Amazon tribes to keep the palm tree alive than to cut it. And today, Natura, which is a cosmetics brand in Brazil, is working with Amazon tribes to sustainably extract the murumuru butter to make a whole range of hair care products. In doing so, Natura is practicing triple regeneration. They create more income for the Amazon people. They preserve indigenous farming practices tied to specific places in the Amazon. And third, they protect the planet by preserving the Amazon rainforest. I believe that in the 21st century, the purpose of businesses will be to enrich life by creating a field of aliveness where people, communities, and nature can all grow and prosper. But you don't need to go to the Amazon to learn about regeneration, because right here in Italy, the Regenerative Society Foundation is pioneering regeneration in Emilia-Romagna. They are transforming the entire industrial region into a regenerative valley. They're doing that in 3 ways. First, they are restoring the health of the planet by healing the agricultural soil. Second, they are empowering people by placing human well-being at the center of all economic activities. And third, they are revitalizing places by ensuring that the local territory doesn't just survive, but thrives. I lived for 13 years in Silicon Valley, where the world's best brains are busy optimizing algorithms and disrupting markets. But today, I'm more impressed by the regenerative valley which is emerging in Emilia-Romagna. Why? Because Silicon Valley is obsessed about performance, but Regional Valley is obsessed with life. That's the difference between making the existing world more efficient and building a new world that is truly alive. Ecco perché tengo questo intervento oggi a Roma e non a Palo Alto. I want to conclude by honoring Giordano Bruno, who was burned at the stake right here in Campodefiori. In Bruno's radical cosmological view, the universe is boundless, centerless, and filled with infinite worlds. Unfortunately, our planet Earth is not infinite. Today, due to the climate crisis, we are called to operate safely within the planetary limits. But we need to boldly stretch the limits of human possibility. We need to unleash and harness our collective ingenuity and wisdom to move beyond capitalism. We need to find infinite ways to do better with less. So I invite you to build a frugal economy that is rooted in cooperation, localization, and regeneration that can truly benefit people and the planet. Thank you.